Hey guys, so I got a couple comments asking how I made my insertable wire strippers and cutters for my Leatherman. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I did it. Now, you are going to need a couple tools because this process is a little unorthodox. Now, I don't have I'm not a machinist. I don't own a mill or lathe or anything like that. So the way I did this, you are going to need sacrificial wire strippers. Now, something like this is okay. I would go with something cheap to practice on first. Um, I wouldn't use something new and fresh like this. I'd use something beat up first, definitely. You're going to also need a drill press and a bench grinder. With those two, I think you can make it happen. If you have a belt sander, that'll also help. So if you look at a Leatherman plier head versus a wire stripper, you can see the blade is on the blade that rests on top is on the left, and the blade that cuts is at the bottom. But on a Leatherman, it's the reverse. You got your blade on top on the right, and the blade on the bottom is on the left. So in order to make this work, you're going to have to take your wire stripper and flip it upside down so that it's in the same orientation. It sits in the same orientation that a Leatherman does. Okay, that's first. Once you have it upside down, you're going to determine what part of the wire stripper you want to use. Do you want more of a cutting surface? Do you want only one or two wire stripper ports? It depends what you really want. Okay. Once you know what you're doing, once you decide what you want, take your Leatherman wire cutter inserts and put a little bit of sticky goo on it. This is like a back of a sticker. I had a little sticky tack, and I don't have it right now. I just grabbed whatever I could. Anyway, you're going to be placing the insert over your wire stripper and lining up the wire cutter edge with the wire stripper edge. Okay, so right now, if you were to trace this out and drill a hole right through there, you're only going to get one wire stripper port and about 2/8 of an inch of wire cutter surface. Okay, so it depends on where you want it is going to be what your inserts are going to look like. Okay, so uh, okay, so that's what you do. Now you can trace it with a line, but I found the easiest way is just hit it with a can of spray paint, and you'll get the perfect outline, and the hole will be a perfect circle. So you can take a punch and get your center. Start with that, and then I'll show you the next step. The reason I purchased this set is because instead of the wire cutters being on the bottom and the wire strippers on top, here you have the opposite. Now this is going to make things a lot easier for me. So you're still going to flip it around, but you are now going to be able to do something like this where the wire cutters are going to be at the bottom instead of on top like you have here. So if you use a normal wire stripper, you're going to have the cutters on top and the strippers at the bottom. But if you use something where the cutters are on top and the wire strippers are on the bottom, when you flip it around, this is now going to be in the right orientation, just like a Leatherman insert. Okay, so now the first thing you want to do is remove the center pivot from the pliers so that you have two individual halves. Okay, the next thing you do is place the Leatherman insert on top, hit it with a can of spray paint, and it should look something like this when you're done. Now you're going to place both halves on top of each other and clamp it down. This way you can drill through the first hole into the second pair, into the second half, and this way both holes line up perfectly. Now, normally they will lay perfectly flat if you use a normal set of wire strippers, but these have an extra piece of metal on the handles which leave a gap. It's okay. You can still make it happen. You just have to line them up more precisely. Then you're going to grind away from the head of the pliers all the way down to the cutting surface. And they should look something like this when you do that. Okay. Now the next step is going to be grinding from the sides, and you can use your bench grinder for that. So you just take your piece, holding the handle, and grind away. When you're done, they should look something like this. Now the last step is just cutting them off. You're going to cut it at where you want it. Now you're going to have to take the individual pieces and put them on a belt sander in order to get them the same thickness as a wire stripper insert themselves. This process is very hard because the pieces heat up very hot. So after everything's all said and done, you should have something that looks like this. Now, I kind of rushed this set. Um, First of all, the strippers I used, although the orientation is exactly what I want the cutters on the bottom and the strippers on top. This set is a little hard to use because it's too thin. So what you're left with after they fit on the Leatherman is this tiny little strip, and that can't really hold up over time. And another thing I messed up on, the hole. I drilled it a little bit to the right. So the reason it matters is mine are off-centered to the right just a bit. Now you see the 3 holes, they look pretty good, but when you go to close the pliers all the way, the holes definitely get smaller, and you don't really want that. You want them the right size of gauge wire. So yeah, just if you're going to make this set, just keep that in mind. You want to keep that hole perfectly centered. Yeah, but give it a shot. It's not that hard to do. You're definitely going to need a bench grinder. That's the most important tool. A drill press helps, and a belt sander that helps as well. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I'll catch you on the next one.